You're watching the Chaos Protocol on Transplanar RPG, an all-transgender, people-of-color-led dark fantasy TTRPG show set in an original non-colonial, anti-Orientalist multiverse. If you like what you see, please consider pledging to our Patreon to support the show and get access to a patron-only after-show, early podcast episodes, GM notes, character sheets, and even the chance for your tabletop OC to cameo in our series. Thank you so much for watching, and enjoy. The Chaos Protocol is a dark fantasy series that may contain content that is triggering for some viewers. Content warnings for this episode include hyperfixation, trauma, nightmares, death, blood, fantasy violence, body horror, monsters and monstrosity, snakes, falling, flying, heights, fear, complex and complicated relationships, fire, brief descriptions of decapitation, and references to divine cannibalism. Arc 2, Episode 16. From Fears We Fight. From Carved Inside an Empty Urn by Connie Chong. Of the 10,842 gods of the City of Heaven, 6,723 of them are ascended cultivators, while the remaining 4,119 are proto-gods who were never human in the first place. Chunjing is one such proto-god. They know these numbers like the span of their palm, which is 7.02 centimeters wide. Numbers have always been Chunjing's refuge, their safe haven, their solid rock of order amidst the hungry tides of chaos. Numbers, counting, organization, logistics, sense. It was like this when Ta was born. It was like this when Ta clawed Ta away toward becoming head administrator, and it is like this now in the preternaturally dense mist with 9 missing gods, 3 missing cultivators, 3 known monsters, and counting. Chunjing leans back onto the heels of their feet, regarding the dark wood abacus on the administrative table before them. They are alone in the Hall of Balance, the primary bureaucratic building in the sprawling Azure complex. They'd dismissed their assistants some hours prior, soon after the attack on the Hall of Peerless Destiny. They need solitude, focus, time to think, to ponder, to numerate the odds of survival, do the calculus on this mystery. As they think, they flick the beads of their abacus with sharp, painful precision. Clack. 10,842 gods. Clack. 6,723 cultivator deities. Clack. 4,119 proto-gods. Clack. 9 missing gods. Clack. 3 of them ascended. Clack. 3 missing cultivators. Clack. 3 known monsters. Clack. Devouring. No. Count. Think. 10,842 gods, 6,723 cultivator deities, 4,119 proto-gods, 9 missing gods, 3 of them ascended, 3 missing cultivators, 3 known. Clack. The devouring. The mist. The pain. The fear. The confusion. No. Count. Think. 10,842 gods, 6,723 cultivator deities, 4,119 proto-gods, 9 missing gods, 3 of them ascended, 3 missing. Clack. The devouring. The mist. The pain. The fear. The confusion. It's happening again. No. Count. Think. 10,842 deaths, no, gods, clack, 6,723 betrayals, no, clack, cultivator, deities, 4,119 devourings, no, clack, proto-gods, that's not right, count, think, again, it's happening, again, 10,000, 100,000, 100, a quarter million, 800, 2,000, 49, 23, 2,000,000, 5,000,000, 3,400 deaths, betrayals, clack, devourings, clack, clack, no, clack, no, clack, no, no! Mu, Chunjing staggers to their feet, clutching their abacus. Their head is pounding, sweat pours from every pore in their body. Their heart feels like it wants to tear its way out of their chest with its teeth. Tada eyes are wide, Tada skin drained of color and flushed to the surface all at once. The mist thickens around them, pressing into their nostrils, their skin, their hair, their eyes, their ears, their scalp, every part of them. It can get its tendrils on, coaxing, whispering, no, get away! Gripping their abacus like a lifeline, Chunjing flings 3 beads from one end of a column to the other. A blast of divine magic emanates from the artifact, poof, cutting a clear path through the mist in the Hall of Balance. But it's not enough. It's not just the mist that's doing this to them. It's them. The fear rising in their throat like an overflowing river, the anxiety coursing through their veins, the memories they cannot revisit, the past they cannot allow to return. Letting out a cry, Chunjing falls to their knees. They hold the abacus close to their chest, fingers thumbing over the beads, thinking, counting, calculating. There must be a way out of this. Yes, there must be an escape route labeled with numbers unknown even to themselves. Blue scales begin to form on their cheeks, their throat, their neck, their shoulders bulge, they contort, they crack. But where there are monsters, there are heroes, and there are mortals. Lumièra. Drooling bolts upright from the bed, Tada eyes wide and urgent. Something's wrong. Something, I don't... The symbols. The symbols of the city of heaven, we are connected through a divine bond. I don't know how else to describe it. It's like a sixth sense. One of us is in trouble. It's Chunjing. The Azure complex. I have to go now.
Lumièra, in the middle of all that, has already gotten up and started getting dressed.
Yep, same as Drooling. She's pulling on her robes, laying on her sash, her skirt, everything about her. She's sweeping her hair up and putting it back up, festooning it out of her face. You don't have to go. Whatever's happening, whatever has gotten a symbol into mortal danger, it will threaten you, and you should stay here. Be safe.
Absolutely not. I have to find my team. And Lumièra literally is like, runs over like to the door and is like looking at Drillin like, are we leaving or not?
Well, I did have to try. I am a gentleman after all. I know a faster way to get there.
Fine, let's go.
And with that, Drooling sweeps her hand into a circular gesture and opens a blazing portal underneath her feet and yours, just like the last time she transported you to the Hall of Peerless Destiny. And as the two of you plummet, we cut to the White Forge. Seir. Lu Hua lowers the tool she's working with, her eyes wide, her sweat cold. Seir, there's something wrong. It's the head administrator, I think. I can feel it in my soul. I have to go help them. Ta is in danger.
And Seir looks over to that cardinal direction where the Hall of Balance sits, and the first thing that falls out of his mouth is, Mira, Xainan, Nova, I'm coming with you. And he unsheaths one of the crescent blades and already has begun launching himself off of this mountain.
Okay, great. I had a feeling you would insist on coming. We should definitely go before the Forge Master gets back. And they rush after you to the mouth of the White Forge. And as they do, they draw their plain workperson's hammer and they fling it into the air, where it spins and levitates, and they step up onto it. And as they do, the hammer elongates until it's the size of a ball. And upon this maw, Lu Hua turns to face you. What are you waiting for? Now that your blades are awakened, you can use them to fly, too. There's 2 of them, so I think you could probably use them like steps. Platforms.
Seir skids to a stop. The dust off of the white forge like fizzles off of the cliff face, and he watches Lu Hua picks up Patience, launches it up like a discus, and I imagine that it levitates for a moment.
It does.
And Seir begins launching violence as soon as he steps onto Patience, and throws them each like discuses one after another to form platforms that he runs upon.
Precisely. And with that, perched atop your divine awakened weapons, the two of you rush toward the Azure complex. Xainan. Lang Hui's pupils return to their slitted shape, but there is something insistent, urgent, and just a touch afraid in the depths of their gaze. I must excuse myself, Esh. Something's come up.
Something dire?
Well, if you must know, there is a bond that connects the four symbols we can sense when one of us is in need. And right now, the head administrator seems to be in, as you mentioned, dire straits. I will go, as is my responsibility, but you can do as you please.
Xainan doesn't even say anything, stands up, sweeps his hat up with him, plants it on his head, and is already somehow holding the birdsong bow. Ghosts are good for a few things, and sometimes it's stopping other ghosts from coming. Lead the way.
You are so irritating. Fine. Then follow closely and keep up. And Lang Hui sweeps their blackened arm in a sharp, violent gesture, and they tear open a portal made of pure shadow in front of their body, and without another look back at you, they step through.
Xainan doesn't hesitate, he sprints right through.
Lumièra, Seir, and Xainan. Outside the administrative buildings of the Azure complex, you see blooming fruit trees, stone bridges arching over babbling brooks. The smell of pollen and honey swirls through the air, borne upon a light wind. And between these lush gardens, we see a matrix of bureaucratic buildings, offices, work halls, archives, registries, all with silver pillars supporting tiered roofs of glazed cerulean tile. The Azure complex spirals outward from the glowing golden nucleus of the Heavenly Palace. It operates as the oft-overlooked but crucially important connective administrative tissue of the City of Heaven. The three of you arrive inside the Hall of Balance at exactly the same time. This is the central administrative office of the Azure complex, a large and imposing chamber dwarfed only by the Hall of Peerless Destiny. You see above your heads thin, elegant ribs supporting a triangular ceiling, while square windows with wooden cutouts admit paltry strings of light. Dozens of low tables with cushions in front of them line the entire hall, all the way from the front, all the way to the back, where you see an elevated platform with a larger, grander table upon it. And upon each of these tables are various administrative implements. Books, scrolls, inkwells, abacuses, you name it, it has it. Hunched behind this largest table is the head administrator of the City of Heaven. Or at least you think it is. Something is wrong. Very, very wrong. First of all, the mist in here is thicker than outside, swirling around your ankles and knees like a dense white current. Second of all, Chunjing appears to have sprouted 4 heads. Snake heads, to be exact, with azure scales and piercing, dead eyes. They brachiate from their shoulder blades, twisting and hissing, tugging the administrator in opposed directions. They stumble from left to right, front to back, like a puppet on a lonesome string. They're bent over, clutching something, their abacus, to their chest, muttering unintelligibly to themselves. The mist is thickest around them, as though these tendrils of fog seek to seep into their clothes, their pore, their soul. Lumièra, You fall through a fiery portal in the ceiling of the hall and land on the floor, unharmed, breathless. Drooling floats to the ground beside you, a flaming longsword already conjured in her right hand. Seir, you hurtle through the main threshold atop your crescent blades, Lu Hua by your side. She leaps off the head of her maul and punches onto the ground, the hammer shortening to fit into her outstretched palm. And Xainan, you step out of a blade of conjured shadow, a heartbeat behind Lang Hui, who draws their inky fingers through the air to create a floating halo of blackened knives. Drooling is the first to step forward. Chunjing, what's happening to you? Are you hurt? Chunjing groans. There's a clacking noise, and all of you realize they're thumbing at their abacus, doing some sort of calculation, even as they're staggering from side to side with those hissing snake heads. 10,000, no, 6,300, 497, 73, 11, gah, gah. The snakeheads hiss, and as they do, a thick gout of mist escapes their fangs. 10,842, 699, 250,000, 2 million, 5 million. Lang Hui narrows their slitted pupils. Their snake lets out a quiet hiss. What are you counting, Chunjing? The devouring. So many dead, so many ascended, so many betrayed, so many consumed, so many devoured. I can't, it can't come back. I have to stop it. I have to count it. That's the only way I can stay safe, the only way I can protect us. I can prevent it. I have to. 10,000, 10 million, 442. Strike Team Nova. In this moment, I need all of you to make a group gaze into the mist move. You can add all of your tags together, and one of you will make the roll itself. But first, each of you should describe what you're looking for as you're taking in Chunjing and the situation that surrounds you. Let's start with Seir.
I think Seir, as the moment Chunjing seems to be unlike themselves, Seir hones in. He steps forward in front of Nova like a bulwark and just watches the movement like a hunter waiting for predator to pounce. And as he's watching, he's feeling something awaken, the hum in his crescent blades beginning to rattle in anticipation. But he's drawn to something that awakens deep within him, the devouring, the hunger, that omen that's haunting him, and all he can see is that whipping by, and he just paces around like a lion in a cage, growling to himself.
Seir, which tags would you like to invoke?
I would like to invoke Monstrous Countenance, because I know monsters when I see it. Powerful against gods, seeing the omens, how to hunt crescent blades because they're with me. And that's it.
That's 5. Okay, so that's what you're putting on the table? Love it. Let's pan over to Xainan. How are you looking at the situation, and what are you seeking as you're taking in Chunjing?
As Seir steps forward, Xainan's soft-soled tabby boots step backward. And he looks over the scene, and he sees the dust, the ash, the mist swirling around this changed god. And all of his training kicks in, and he is feeling all of his knowledge and understanding of studying the ending of things. Calamities upon calamities upon calamities. and he is ready to loose an arrow while he looks over the beginning of what he understands to be oblivion.
Okay, so what tags are you invoking?
Sentinel against the ending.
Mm-hmm.
Survivalist.
Mm-hmm.
Deadeye.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's it.
Okay, that's 3. Excellent. Let's pan over to Lumièra. What are you looking for as you take in Chunjing?
While my teammates are, for all intents and purposes, assessing the situation, Lumièra is honing in on what is being said. She's counting the amount of times that different numbers are being stated. She's listening in between each number, trying to find, if we're repeating numbers over and over again, there's got to be some type of pattern. And if there's something to be found in that pattern, how many times they're saying this number versus this number, what is any significances of that number that I can think of, anything that would be in relation to this. So I think that's where Lumièra is focusing at. She's listening quite literally to what is happening.
Excellent. So what power tags would you like to invoke?
So I'm going to use diagnoses.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also going to use control of time as well as shielded by time.
So 3? Okay, that is 6 plus, that's plus 11 total. I'm going to invoke some weakness tags. So keep track of these, friends. I am invoking, first of all, let's start from Xainan. I'm going to invoke Haunted by Dusty Memories, a closed door, and a thin mask. Seir, I'm invoking Self-Sacrifice, Scares People, and Weak to Gods. That's another 3. Lumièra, I'm invoking Fatigued. So that's 1 more. That's 7 total so far, and I'm also invoking the crew weakness tag, Denial. Because here, as the mist is thick, it's exactly as Lao had mentioned, it's a shroud, a blanket of denial. And it's thickening between the 3 of you in particular. So that's 8, minus 8 total. So that's a total of a plus 3. So who wants to roll?
I'll do it.
Okay,
yeah,
Lumièra.
I was gonna say, not me.
Not
Not
Val.
me, baby.
Not for narrative reasons. Not Val.
Not me.
Because of Val reasons.
11.
Let's
Yeah,
fucking go.
We're trusting the she-hers here. Okay. On an 11 plus, the mist shows you lucid visions and a clear path forward. Let's start with what each of you are looking for. Xainan, you're searching for a sense of an ending, of oblivion in particular. Here, as you see Chunjing hunched over, staggering, muttering to themselves, sweating in pain as these snakes writhe from between their scapulae. This is an ending of sorts. Chunjing is fighting it. The mist's influence is trying to turn them into a monster. Whether or not that will be the true end of them doesn't seem to be the case. Either way, they're not too far gone yet. There is still hope. You can still bring them back from the brink of transforming into a beast, of joining the mist like Haiping did, like Mingyu did, like Wei Jun did. Seir, you're searching for a sense of hunger and doom, and that growl rolls out of your throat. And yes, in this moment, Seir, you hunger. You seek to consume. That appetite comes back as though it was never gone, rolling into you alongside the mist. You want to eat. Divinity. This hunger, this urge, is not and has never been. You understand this with a sudden crystal clarity as you look at this struggling god in front of you. This urge is not mortal. It's never been mortal. This is not the urge of a cultivator or a god killer. This is the urge of the devouring. This hunger is the hunger of divinity seeking to eat itself. And you see that fear of this divine cannibalism swirling around Chunjing as they're twitching and twisting and muttering to themselves. And Lumièra, you're looking for a pattern, and you start to sense one. There are two different sets of numbers that Chunjing is bursting about. One of them seems to concern the number of gods currently in the city of heaven, the 10,000 something split between proto-gods and cultivator gods, the number of missing gods now the three of you missing cultivators, the number of known monsters. That's one set of numbers that you can understand. The other set seems to be related to something that's already happened, to the devouring. They're getting their figures mixed up. They can't really differentiate between the trauma of the past and the current trauma of the now. The deaths, the ascensions, the betrayals. Even every single grain of sand that was spilled because of it, every single drop of blood categorized into ounces, into gallons, into tons. All of these numbers are filtering through Chunjing and causing them to clutch onto their abacus as a grounding point. It seems like they're using this counting as a way to try to prevent themselves from transforming even further. This is a shield, this abacus. But you notice, with a strange, deep, sinking sensation in your stomach, it's also exactly what's making them worse. The abacus is both a tool for saving themselves and a way of distracting themselves, of deflecting them from reckoning with this trauma of the devouring that they've never quite looked in its eyes. Chunjing straightens. Suddenly, violently, painfully. And as you see them twisting and moaning in pain, you see the scales. Azure scales on their throat, their cheeks, their neck, as though the blue snakes protruding from their back were beginning to take over their entire body as well. They're still them, yes, but they are beginning to transform. The mist is starting to take them, starting to turn them into a monster. And in a moment of lucidity, Chunjing looks up at the four symbols, at Strike Team Nova. Please, I don't want to be taken. I don't want to be eaten. I don't want to be devoured. Please, help me. Please. They cave in on themselves, and the snakes on their back snarl, and those hungry dead eyes fixate onto Strike Team Nova and pummel a gaze of pure necrotic energy into the three of you. And I need all of you to take another level in Marked for Death, unless you'd like to try to resist this.
I would like to try and resist this.
Okay, anyone else?
I will as well.
Lumièra? Could you verbally confirm for the podcast listeners?
Oh, yeah, no, that's what I was in the middle of doing right then, was like going over to unmute myself. But yes, I will also do that as well.
Excellent. So when you resist taking a negative status, describe how your logos or mythos flares to protect you, and roll plus tags. Let's start with Xainan.
I think that Xainan is not completely aware of how much the last encounter truly affected him, I don't think. He just feels weird. But he sees this strike towards him, and he was poised and ready. And when he thinks, I'm going to dodge, instead his spirit steps aside. And where there should be a man stands a ghost. And his way of evading it is to step into the ghost realm. So I would like to use Untethered Existence to try and evade what's going on.
Okay, I like that. As you start to sidestep out of the way of this death gaze. I had invoked your weakness tag, Haunted by Dusty Memories, earlier. As you gazed upon Chunjing, the mist swirls around you and almost seems to catch against unseen figures. It looks so familiar. Someone with a dark twilight blue skin, dark hair, a smell of beautiful, delicious cherry pie baking, and a tall man with broad shoulders, his back turned to you, a slight woman holding the hand of the first person, and then these figures go, and you hear something in the back of your mind, a child's laugh. Do you have to roll tags for this?
Sorry, wait, what?
Because you're using, I assume you're using a special move you took? Or are you just, like, invoking a tag?
I'm invoking a tag. I'm invoking,
Okay.
Untethered Existence is a tag.
Got it, understood. Because sometimes when you take improvements, you can take additional moves. So I wasn't sure if
Yes.
Untethered Existence was the name of a move.
I
Excellent.
took additional tags.
Roll 2d6.
Oh, that's a 7 total.
Okay, on a 7 to 9, you take the status as it was intended. No loss,
Yeah.
no gain. So what does it look like as you try to sidestep this, but it pierces you anyway?
I think as he steps aside and he sees home, he thought he was stepping aside from danger, but he steps instead into a memory. And he should have stepped aside, but he stands right there and takes it full on as he looks at the silhouette of his home.
And as you see these three figures, Azalis, Dom, Piera, piercing through them is that necrotic dead gaze that causes all three to vanish, disperse like ash, snow, dust, snow, mist, and then it punches right into you. So elevate Marked for Death by 1 more tier. Let's go to Lumièra. How does your Logos or Mythos flare to protect you?
So Lumièra once again, when in strict panic, creates a liminal around herself to slow time and to protect her from what is happening in real time. So I'm going to use Love is Power. I will, however, invoke my Fatigued weakness as well.
Ooh, okay.
However, I will also use Control of Time, creating liminals, and Shielded by Time as well.
Okay, that's a +3 total. I'm going to also invoke the weakness tag. Doesn't understand its power, so that's a +2.
Okay. Sounds
Yeah. The liminal jumps out of you by instinct alone when you're facing down panic. So this could have dire consequences if you don't understand what you're doing.
This is also going to be another 11.
Oh my god!
Lumièra.
Okay. On a 10+, you fend off the brunt of the effect. Take the status, but with -1 tier. That means there was only 1 tier, so you don't take the status at all. What does the liminal look like as it flares around you and protects you?
I think once again it looks like a shimmery gold bubble that's around her, but that bubble instead is made up of clock gears that are all moving in point in conjunction with each other around, and shimmers a bit it shimmers iridescently here while the mist kind of bounces and reflects light off of it in different ways, kind of creating a rainbow off over in the corner somewhere just from light fracturing off of this bubble.
I love that. Yeah, as the bubble balloons over you, you get the sense that whatever unintended consequence, you are able to evade it for now, even though you're not entirely sure of this magic you're drawing upon. For now, your hand masters the craft. And your pocket watch, you feel it pop open inside your pocket. You feel the lid of it open and you hear a ticking noise. even though the hands aren't moving, even though it's always been broken.
This isn't supposed to work.
And yet, in this moment with your 11+, it does. Seir, how does your Logos or Mythos flare to protect you?
Seir flicks the crescent blades up, stands stalwart in front of Strike Team Nova, and as this necrotic energy floods over us, he slams patience and violence against them like they're symbols and just tries to combat it. The tags I will invoke are therefore Bulwark, Crescent Blades, and we have to choose between Logos or Mythos, right?
Correct.
Yes, so I will just choose Logos. I'll choose Bulwark, Crescent Blades, and Hollowness, because in this moment of pure focus, there's no emotion that can take sway over him.
Okay, I'm going to invoke Weak to Gods in this moment, as this is a god firing this death gaze at you. So that's a +2 total, I think.
+2 total. Let's go. Let's go. 2 4s. That means a 10 total.
Redemption of the he hymns. So it's just like Lumièra, you fend off the brunt of the effect and you take the status but with -1 tier, which means you don't take anything at all. As you bang the crescent blades together from the other side, with them held over your face, we see the gaze of the serpent reflected against itself as that necrotic energy is shunted off to the side, deflected from you. And on that, we're gonna leap right into combat. So I have a brand new move for all of you to try out, titled Dive into Action. I've dropped that into our backstage chat. It reads as follows. When your crew dives into action against a violent foe, describe how you ready yourselves in the face of chaos and roll 2d6 plus tags. Tell the GM your result, then take a single action each in order of the highest to the lowest result. The GM may ask you to make a move as part of your action. When all sleuths have gone, the GM will describe how your allies respond and then your enemies. If there is still violence to be had, dive into action once more and repeat the process from the beginning. This is basically my way of doing initiative. So, Strike Team Nova, how do you ready yourselves in the face of chaos, and what tags would you like to invoke? So just as a total clarification, this is not an action itself, it's how you prepare for that action. It determines the order of how you can act. It's essentially your initiative roll. So let's start with Xainan.
Xainan is ready to fight practically at all times. He will fight practically anyone. It's a problem. So I'm going to say Survivalist, Sentinel against the ending, Streamlined Equipment, making it easier for him to draw his bow, just as my 3.
Excellent. So roll 2d6 plus 3.
I gotta fix my dice. It's okay? It's a 9.
Xainan, 9. Got it. Let's go to Lumièra. How do you ready yourself for action?
Let's see. Lumièra is, my girl's not a frontliner, so she kind of stays off to the back watching, but she is eyes on the battlefield at the same time. So I'm also going to go on ahead and use diagnoses, because I feel like she will be pointing out vulnerable spots. I'm trying to look over this and find out where the soft tissue parts are to point out for, my two boys over here for them to go stab with. So I'm going to use diagnoses. I'm going to use actually, I'm going to use diagnoses, and then I'm going to use my new improvement.
Okay.
One of the improvements I took was my mythos, my expression. I now have what's called powerful presence.
Ooh,
while I was here.
Into that. Powerful presence.
Yeah, so I'm going to use both of those.
Excellent. So that's a +2. Roll it.
Oh, fuck yeah! Let's go! 13.
Excellent. Let's go to Seir. How do you prepare yourself for action?
Seir prepares himself by closing the distance now. His steps are light as he closes the distance between himself and Chunjing. And with Crescent Blades ready, he is now kind of like standing at the threshold of melee distance with Chunjing, ready to go toe-to-toe. I will invoke the How to Hunt, Crescent Blades, and the Chosen One, because he is specifically using Sing's lithe, agile movements to be ready for any counterattack. And I will also invoke Can't Be Surprised, because he's
Excellent.
standing
That's a
ready.
+4. So you're attempting to close the distance and get into melee range.
Mhm.
Okay. Roll for it.
Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8. What did I say the plus was? 3?
+4.
+4. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's go.
Excellent. Okay, we've got our initiative order. So first to act is gonna be Lumièra.
Lumièra steps back, and it's that beautiful moment of synergy between Strike Team Nova, where we all, without even looking at each other, realize and recognize exactly what we're doing. So Lumièra steps back in formation, and she's the point of the triangle. She steps back and allows Seir and Xainan to step in front of her. While she's stepping back, her eyes, much like her precision, like looking surgical to an exact, Lumièra's in between. Go for the left side. Scales aren't completely on that side just yet. You still might have some tender points to take advantage of.
You note this to your strike team as you observe Chunjing. Would you like for that to be how you spend your turn here? Observing the enemy, or would you like to do something offensively?
I think I would like to observe the enemy. Well, I would like to observe the enemy because what I would like to do in this instance is help a crewmate. I want to help I want to help my boys while they go through this by pointing it out. So I'm going to be eyes on the battlefield while they go ham.
Sounds good. That sounds like you're investigating what's happening here. So when you investigate a new location, describe how you search for clues and roll 2d6 plus tags.
Okay. So I will, like I said, pointing out soft spots, places that look like they could still be tender enough to take advantage of. I'm going to use diagnoses again. I'd like to make an argument for stabilizer too.
Okay.
In that regard, because I would like to think that we're trying to stabilize Ta in some way, shape, or form, whether that is
true.
To keep them from continuously turning into whatever it is they're turning into, or to help separate them from whatever entity is growing out of them.
Excellent.
I would also like to use flashes of history. I think there's something so familiar about this plane that Lumièra has been trying to ignore, but there's so many similar parallels to how she feels here, the energy here, but she can't really put her finger on it yet. It very much reminds her of something that she vaguely remembers in the back of her head.
Okay, so that's a +3. Go for it.
Cool. Please. Nine.
Okay, so on a 7 to 9, the GM will describe the area's general ambiance and any prominent features that your trained senses notice. Yes, Lumièra, as you scan Chunjing with those 4 Azure Serpent heads protruding from their back, you notice what Xainan picked up on with crystal clarity. Of course, Chunjing is turning into a monster. That's what the scales are, of course. And of course, they're hanging on to a semblance of their sapience by counting on their abacus. But like you had intuited earlier, that very action is also what's causing them to slip deeper and deeper into this transformation. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And the prominent feature you notice is the mist that is densest around Chunjing. It is latching onto them more so than the other symbols, more so than most of the other gods even, because there's something within Chunjing that is resonating with what the mist is in its current form here. It's a shroud. It's a blanket. It's spiritual wool you can choose to pull over your own eyes instead of confronting the things that terrify you. There is something buried deep within Chunjing, buried deep within yourself, Lumièra, and that's what's similar about this to you. That's what's familiar. A scar, a wound, a trauma. That for Chunjing's case, they've been refusing to confront, and for your case, you've been unable to remember. And that refusal, that shroud, that blanket, that closed door is what's making them vulnerable to the mist's influence.
Do not run from it. Don't run. What hurts you is what makes you real. Use it.
10,000. No, it hurts too much. I can't.
It's supposed to
look
hurt.
At it.
That's what reminds you of what is.
As
Fight
you
it.
plead with Chunjing, your words starting to get to them, these four serpents hiss and mist spills from between their sharpened fangs. And we're gonna pan across the stage to find Seir. Seir, as you've established, you are able to close the gap and get right up within melee range.
Mm-hmm. Seir is focused on getting Chunjing's attention so that Xainan might be able to do what he needs to do. And as he wields the crescent blades, I think what he first goes for is launching the crescent blades like a discus over to kind of like whiz past their eyes so that they're distracted and recall it and engage in that melee dance, so that if we're going to turn them back, it's for Xainan and Lumièra to find the path forward, and he's just there to be a distraction, to dance like she would dance.
All right, that actually sounds like a sneak move to me. So when you employ trickery, deceit, or subterfuge to conceal your actions or intentions, describe how you maneuver and roll 2d6 plus tags.
Fantastic. I love this for me. I will invoke Crescent Blades, of course.
Okay.
I will invoke the Chosen One. And How to Hunt.
Excellent. I'm going to invoke Weak to Gods again here, because the presence as you run up here and fling that sickle forward, you know that you are putting yourself in a vulnerable position. Whatever magic is emanating from Chunjing is really pressing against your soul like an oppressive aura.
Let's see what it rolls. Oh, of course it does. Okay.
Not again. You need to stop this.
I've been rolling with the nice dice. They've been nice up to
Val?
this point.
Honey, look me in my eyes. Do me a favor, my sweet, sweet, sweet man. Put all your dice out in the moon every week.
Yeah, you need Artemis's energy to
every
recharge
week.
them.
Every week.
It is
Everyone
not
you
terrible.
own.
It's an 8. It's not
An 8,
terrible.
okay.
It's an 8.
Okay.
I thought it was
not
like
terrible.
Snake
I
eyes.
thought you,
Okay,
you,
excellent.
your
No.
reaction was like, oh, I rolled snake eyes. So
I saw the
was like,
2. I saw the 2 show up, and I was like, oh, okay. Great. It's
Lovely.
an 8 total. We'll fight.
On a 7 to 9, you're compromised in some way. Choose one. A single person notices you. I'm counting the snakeheads each as a person for this purpose. You leave crucial evidence behind. I'm gonna adjudicate that as it's temporary. And you stumble upon an immediate threat. That one seems pretty obvious.
Connie,
Yes?
someone notices me.
Okay. One of the snakeheads does not turn and look. even as the others do. And even Chunjing, for a moment, tears their head up from counting their abacus and looks at the silvery boomerang of that crescent blade. But that one snakehead is not distracted. It is not deceived. And in fact, it lunges forward as you are disarmed of your own volition with only a single sickle to protect yourself. It lunges forward and its fangs splay out and it latches onto a part of your body. Tell me, what part of your body does it bite?
Oh, let's keep the theme going. It bites his neck. And it's a similar constriction, a familiar fiery constriction that has turned around his neck like a Regnus's mark and brand upon him, and he buckles against it.
I love that. The fangs don't sink into your skin, Seir. They don't sink into flesh and marrow. Nothing so pedestrian as that. They sink into your soul. Take Cursed 2. Would you like to resist?
Yeah.
Okay. So how does your Mythos logos in that moment flare to protect you?
I'm picking Mythos. And I think in this moment he feels the constriction of a Regnus around his neck, being brought back to that lance of fire that took his sister. Feeling how his soul was nearly wrenched out of him before she saved him. He feels something calling from deep within, rising up. The thing that he's denied, the thing that he's rejected. And of all things, that is what comes up to protect him. I will invoke my Mythos. I will invoke Weave Omens. I think this is Seir weaving his omens to help him. Can't be surprised. Powerful against gods and monstrous countenance.
Monstrous countenance. I'm gonna invoke weak against gods.
Yeah.
I think
fair.
for self-explanatory reasons. And self-sacrifice in this moment. You're putting yourself on the line and you might overdo it. You might overextend yourself in this moment. So that's only a +2. Go for it.
+2. Let's fucking go. That's a 10 exactly again.
Jeez, okay.
Let's
so
go.
you fend off the brunt of the effect. Take the status but with -1 tier. So that's Cursed 1.
Cursed 1.
Okay. So how does it look like as that part of you, that chosen relationship, right, flares to protect you?
I think, if I may, Connie,
Please.
I think there's a moment where, imposed upon Seir's body, for a split second, another body appears outwards, and it is a black-furred, stag-headed being with a black kurta just steps forward. Like in a heartbeat, it pulses out of him with his large hands stepping forward to push past the curse. And Seir sees this person again for a moment out of time, and his eyes are widened.
Oh, yeah. Your eyes go wide as you see that black-furred stag head, the antlers brachiating toward the moon, dripping with limpid threads of broken red, and then you blink again and they're gone, and poosh, that snake unlatches from your neck and poosh, whips back and lets out a hiss. And Seir, you're Cursed 1. While you are cursed in this way, the next status you take is increased in tier, equivalent to the tier of the curse. So it's always going to be increased by another 1, and after that, this curse will subside. Okay. As the head hisses backward, we sweep across this battlefield to find Xainan.
Xainan sees the silhouette of his partners, hears the echo of his daughter, and the denial is also buried deep inside of him, the answer to Long Hui's question. What would you die for? And they're all around him. And it's not just the ghosts. He hears Lumièra say, "What hurts you makes you real." And he spins to pull his kimono off, and from it falls out a pink cherry blossom. And he sees it fall, and he looks up, and the mist for a moment is just cherry blossoms. She's everywhere. and he would do anything to survive for them. And that is the answer to Long Hui's question. And as he draws his bow and the mist eats the cherry blossoms, he would like to shoot the head that's attacking Seir.
Excellent. Sounds like
Stop
you're
it from
unleashing
hurting.
violence.
Yes.
Lovely. So roll 2d6 plus tags.
All right, so we're going to have a lot of tags here.
Okay.
Sentinel against the ending.
Okay.
Farm boy. New tag. Student of those before.
Okay.
Nimble fingers. Another new tag.
Okay.
The birdsong bow. Deadeye. Streamlined equipment. I was
Oh
built
my
for
God.
this exact thing. Grease, long shadow, and unspoken eulogies. And if I can do math, which I think I can, it's a +9.
Oh my
If I-
god.
What the hell? What the hell?
I can do math.
Okay.
Sending me.
I think I'm gonna invoke Haunted by Dusty Memories to just bump that down to a easy breezy +8. Roll for it.
15.
As you loose this arrow, poof, the mist, which looks like cherry blossoms being devoured, which looks like dust fluttering across a desiccated world, all of it plumes outward like tides of the sea parting in the presence of your ammunition. So what does it look like, and where are you trying to skewer that snakehead?
Over his shoulder, he can feel, as he draws the bow tightly, his Ima adjust his elbow just a little bit. And he, without even sighting down the arrow, looks at Seir. Sees that moment in the banquet where he invited in Aragnus. Sees Sing's eyes in his eyes as the cherry blossoms dissipate. And he doesn't flinch, he doesn't move, he doesn't do anything. His elbow pokes up just a little bit more, and the arrow shoots through like someone opening a book and the pages splitting open through the mist.
Yeah, perfect. There's a tunnel of force as that arrow rams against the side of that snake's head, and I'd like you to pick one. You don't suffer or worsen a status in return. You glean a weakness, flaw, or hidden desire, or you seize a temporary advantage.
I'd like to seize a temporary advantage.
Okay, do you have an idea for what that might be?
I think... I don't, actually, no. I went through like 3 possibilities, and I'm like, no.
You're so real for that, Kai, and so valid.
All right, would you like me to come up with an idea for you, or would you like to pick a different one?
I think basically he would like to be able to help Seir get out of this sticky situation.
Okay, great. So I think that can be the temporary advantage that you seize. Yeah, sure. Poof. The arrow punches into the side of the snake's head, and it reels backward, like letting out a hiss. Not of pain. You don't even think this monstrous version of Chunjing could feel pain in the way that is so pedestrian to mortals and even to divines, but it does wrench its way back, and Seir, you are clear. You have an opportunity on your next turn to get away from this situation with very little drawback, thanks to Xainan's cover fire. I think that's what that means. I think that means Seir won't be targeted by any attacks. All right.
You gotta live, boy.
Okay.
Thanks, old man.
As the head of the snake is punched back with that forceful arrow, we pan to the 4 symbols in this room. And we see as they act like a well-oiled machine without even needing to talk to each other. We understand viscerally why they are the leaders of the city of heaven, why they are the 4 symbols. Drooling rushes forward, is the first to act, is always the first to act, and in just a split second, Seir, she's right next to you. There is a flash of fire, and that snakehead that had bit you is severed. It hits the ground, and the remaining neck dissipates into mist. And as the head hits the ground, it also dissipates into mist and does not come back. And drooling with that blade flourish next to her rises and looks down at you, Seir, and says, "You gotta be a bit quicker on your feet there."
Heard, Seir says, embittered.
And then there's a yell, and the ground shakes as Luhua also tanks their way forward like a protective bulwark. Their feet stomping onto the ground, leaving spikes of steel in their wake. They lift up into the air and smash their hammer, which elongates into a mighty maw, onto one of the other snakeheads. And as soon as it makes contact, there's a poof, like a resonant noise as that head as well dissipates and shatters into mist. And Luhua lands next to you and Drooling and lets out a sweaty grin. "Hey! Oh, Drooling, can I just say it is such a huge honor to fight by your side. I don't think we've ever done this before. Focus, little flower." "Yes, ma'am." And then, in the back, standing parallel to Lumièra, hanging back but observing, we see Longhui, that halo of shadow blades flitting across their shoulders like a rising sun made of inverted light. They twist their head to the side, and then they flourish the blackened fingertips of one hand, and they draw into the air a black eye, just like the dozens of black eyes you all saw in the Black River, and they punch it forward. This black eye travels through the air and passes through Chunjing, and we all see pure black fill Longhui's eyes, pooling out from their slits until they're just puddles of pure shadow. And then they let in a sharp intake of breath. "The abacus." And they're addressing all of you. "We must focus on the abacus. Chunjing is using it as a distraction, as a shield that they think is protecting them, but it also prevents them from grappling with the thing that is causing them to turn into this monster. Remove it from them. That is the only way we can bring them back from the edge."
On it.
Time to stop the ticking, Lumièra.
If you
And
say
now?
so.
It's time for the Azure Serpent to act. Chunjing, surrounded by Seir, Drooling, and Luhua, lets out a no, not my abacus. No, not the Darkwood abacus. No, it's protected me this entire time. I can't let it go. I won't let it go. And there's a force wave that shoots out from them and pushes Drooling and Luhua back several feet, pushes you as well, Seir, back several feet, creating space from them, and they look up. I just go. I don't want you to be devoured too, but I'm scared. Help me. No, leave. Help me. No, leave. Stop it. Ugh. And they fling their hand across 6 beads of the abacus. And as that happens, the mist around all of you swirls. And you see images beginning to languish themselves into existence. And I need all of you to answer the question, what is your worst nightmare? And how does it coil forth from the mist? Let's start with Xainan.
Xainan has already lived between, and inside of the mist, the silhouette of a bare tree spirals into existence. Dust roiling, and he sits on his knees, cracked like the earth beneath him, alone. And he just falls to his knees and feels it.
It feels so real, Xainan. You can smell the dust. The scentless, tasteless smell of the dust. You can hear the whistling wind, your only companion. You can feel the desecrated earth beneath your knees, your feet. You can see the grave. The graves. Because your worst nightmare has already happened. It's already come to pass. As your eyes fall upon the gravestones carved out of mist, you see familiar names, and then you see her name sing. You see Lumièra's name on another gravestone. You see Seir's name on another gravestone. You see Artemis's name on another gravestone. And I need you to take Haunted too.
Yeah.
Lumièra, what's your worst nightmare and how does it coil forth?
That's a funny question, Connie. Because asking that question assumes that Lumièra has not already lived her worst fear. And suddenly she is 8, watching everything she knows around her descend into blackness, into nothing. Almost as if you're tipping the world in a glass of milk, and the further you dip it, the more the milk overtakes the cookie before there is nothing left. So that's what Lumièra sees. This world inch by inch, everything she knows, everyone she loves, descending into oblivion.
Lumièra, take Haunted too.
Connie, I already have Haunted too.
Then it goes up to 4.
Connie, fuck you.
Fuck you for that oblivion moment. Yeah, okay. As you see the world around you crumbling into, well, absolutely nothing, we pan across this mist-strewn battlefield to find Seir.
He feels it again, that lance of fire in his chest. That moment, a moment too late, late again, that feeling of her dying before he steps there. His greatest nightmare was his failing in protecting his sister, the pain that he carries, the hollowness deep inside. It's him knelt down, holding both Sing and Lumièra in his arms and feeling the weight of his sins crawling up his back. He killed her.
And Seir, as you feel that lance of fire, as you feel the weight of your sister's body against your own, you hear her voice. Oh, for the first time in over 2 months, you hear her voice. And it coils out of the mist and it says to you, "You're not my brother. You're my doom."
No, I'm not.
No, this isn't real. And we see Drooling, surrounded by a misty image of Emperor Longdu, turning and walking away from her, vanishing into the fog, leaving her forever. We see Lu Hua frozen there, paralyzed, their eyes wide, tears streaking down their face, as we see a misty silhouette of their mentor Shrizhang on the ground, dying. And Lang Hui, at the very back of the Hall of Balance, we see them just completely and utterly alone, unsatisfied, unmoored, lonely, forever. As for Chunjing, you all see ghostly images of gods floating through the mist. No, fighting, fucking, no, eating each other, devouring each other in violent, rapacious greed and viciousness. The devouring. That is their greatest fear, and like so many of yours, it has already come to pass. And they shake their head and they grip their abacus close to their chest and they say, no, I can't, I won't look at it, I can't think about it. Don't you understand? It hurts too much! This just... Maybe we should just fall into the mist. Let it take us where this can't hurt us ever again, where we can't look at it ever again! And Strike Team Nova. Let's roll initiative one more time.
Let's go.
So, diving into action, that's 2d6 plus tags of your choice each. Let's start with Xainan. What tags would you like to roll?
Oh, God. I think, given the situation that he has re-dipped himself into, I'm going to say Sentinel against the ending, Survivalist, and Untethered, and Grease-Long Shadow and Untethered Existence, and Unspoken Eulogies. So
go for it.
That's an 11.
Nice, noted. Xainan, 11. Lumièra?
I'm going to use Stabilizer, Forbidden Knowledge. I'm also going to use my other new power tag, Glimpses of Home, as well as creating liminals and Shielded by Time. I will inflict the weakness disrupts the journey.
Okay, go for it.
So that's a +4?
+4, yeah.
Okay. 12.
Okay. That's great. I think as you in particular, because you invoked a weakness, start to try to pull yourself out of this haze, out of all of your home of Tungal crumbling around you, you feel something on the edges of your perception wavering. It's coming from the same place that you heard the ticking of the clock earlier before you went back to the empty city. Something's wavering. Something about your time magic is wavering. And then we cut across to Seir.
I will invoke the tags Hollowness, the Chosen One, and How to Hunt.
Okay, go for it.
That is 6 and 8, 9. That's a 9 total.
9. All right, what this means is Lumièra will be the first to act. Lumièra, at the top of your turn, several things happen. The first is Chunjing can't sustain... No, the Azure Serpent can't sustain the images of these nightmares for very long. They're still becoming, they're still being birthed into the mist, and as they let out another... No, all of these images unclench back into the mist around you. They disperse and you're no longer haunted by these visions. The other thing that happens is as Chunjing twists and stumbles behind that huge administrative desk, one of the heads, the one that Luhua had blasted out of existence, regrows. It stitches itself back into existence, formed of mist at first and then rippling down from top to bottom with azure scales and that dead, necrotic gaze. And Luhua shakes their head quickly. They take a step back and regard what's happening. Huh. Okay. I guess I'll let you handle cutting off the heads, she says, gesturing toward Zhiling. And we notice something about the fire from Zhiling's longsword seems to have kept the regrowth of the heads at bay. Lumièra, what would you like to do?
I would like to target that abacus. Personally. So, just to make sure I'm not mistaking anything above table, you said that it is keeping them from seeing what they want to see, but also at the same time keeping it at bay.
So, what you do know based on everything you've absorbed so far is Chunjing certainly thinks that the abacus is keeping their monstrosity at bay, but all other evidence seems to suggest otherwise. The abacus is a distraction for them. It's a way for them to focus on counting, going over the numbers, throwing themselves, Lumièra, into their work as a distraction from processing the trauma, the scars, the blood of the devouring. They think that by obsessing over the numbers associated with the devouring, that by counting, by using the abacus over and over, the logistics, the order, it will shield them from being hurt. But Lumièra, that's not true. That's not true at all. In fact, by fixating on the abacus, they're preventing themselves, as you've already gleaned, from confronting and processing the trauma that's roiling beneath the surface. The trauma that they've never truly looked at in its face.
Time to be a hypocrite, doo-da, doo-da. Lumièra is going to... I think she's going to walk closer to Taha. And once again, still try to speak to them, letting them know you don't heal if you don't confront it. It is difficult. It is more painful than anything anyone could ever imagine. However, there is a reason why you are still here. Use it. This does not help. Facing what hurts you, facing your trauma, facing your past head on is the only thing that pushes you to where you need to be. If not, this will continue to eat you alive, as it is right now. And I don't know if I have anything. I think
you're connecting with them.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
That works.
Okay. That plea is good.
Connect.
I would like to ask you to reveal something intimate about yourself as part of this plea to truly get through to them and invoke this move.
I only tell you this because I should know. Every day I wake up and I wish it didn't happen. I wish I still saw her. I wish I moved in enough time. I wish I knew what I could do to save her. And that is my fault and my burden to bury. And to carry. You can move forward. You have to. Because if you don't, there's no chance for me. Ever.
Okay. I'm going to do something different here. Xainan and Seir, if you would like, you could spend your turns following Lumièra to help bolster her move right here if you also say something to Chunjing in this moment.
Yeah. Xainan, it isn't so much about this situation. Lumièra had the most accurate hit on him in this entire fight. He heard every word of what she just said. And he can still see the misty silhouettes in his mind that he just saw. The people he did bury and people he doesn't want to. Sometimes surviving is carrying what you have seen and letting the bad parts go and loving what you have.
As your words ring out against this mist, Chunjing looks up, and for a moment they have a moment of lucidity, just like before. The snakes are still hissing, but they don't attack, and their eyes fix on Lumièra and then you, Xainan. They don't respond. They're still breathing and gasping. The sweat is still rolling down their skin, but this seems to be working. Seir, would you like to chime in as well?
Seir knelt to the ground as he was tossed aside, and hearing Chunjing's words of, wouldn't it be better if we just let it all go, and he grits his teeth. I would rather die than let her go. I will never look away from her eyes or her gaze. I will hold it in me. And he snaps his head over to Chunjing, this mask faltering completely. A tap that he's put in his chest bursts out. I will not let her go. This pain is all I have left of her, and I will hold it till the day I end my journey. And you will hold yours to the end of your journey. Your doom is not here, and it is not now.
Your words mix with Lumièra's and Xainan's ringing out in this hall, acting as a bulwark against the mist that's trying to coil its way into Chunjing. Their eyes go wide. They look between the three of you. And Luhua steps forward, lowering the maul but holding it by their side. Chunjing, please listen to these cultivators. And if you can't understand the familiarity of their faces, then look at me. You know me. It's me. It's Luhua. Zhiling's here. Even Langhui's here. We're not gone. We're here. We're right here with you. So whatever's happening with you, we can figure it out together. We can help you. So why don't you just let us help you? Zhiling also lowers her flaming longsword. Lets out a deep but truthful sigh. I guess if we're all putting our bleeding hearts out on our sleeves. Listen, head administrator. I know you and I haven't always seen eye to eye about, well, pretty much anything, but we can't lose you. The city of heaven needs you. You're the best damn bureaucrat, and for once I mean that as a compliment, that I've ever met. And I've learned from you, too. You are always so methodical, so straightforward, but that's not what gives you worth. It's just you, Chunjing. Please. The Emperor needs you. And I need the Emperor, so please. And Langhui from the back of the hall says only one sentence, but it rings out and reaches all of your ears. Don't run away from the ghosts that scare you, Chunjing. Thank you. And they drop the abacus, and it clatters onto the table in front of them, and they start to slacken like a puppet with its strings cut. And as they do, every one of the remaining heads disperses into mist, and the azure scales beginning to wick their way up their neck also disperse into mist. Lumièra, just for fun, please roll to connect with someone, but with a +3 from the other symbols. And Xainan and Seir, what tags would you like to lend?
Grief's long shadow.
4,
Unspoken eulogies.
5,
And messages from the beyond.
6,
I give you the chosen one.
7,
Bulwark.
8.
And powerful against gods.
9.
Lumièra, roll 2d6 plus 9.
You're shitting me.
What is that face? What is that?
Did you
What'd
do
get?
it? Did you do it? Did you
You're
do it?
shitting me.
So once again, it's gonna be a win for the she/hers with my box cars. Thank you so
Let's
much.
go.
I don't think I
Oh
need
my
to do math.
God.
I think I just win. I think we win.
Yeah.
We're not
That's
even
a
in a
21.
D20 system. That's a 21.
It's City of
That's a
Mist, which is 2d6. Oh my god. Yeah. Chunjing starts to fall like a puppet with their strings cut. The mist starts to thin, but before they can hit the ground, Zhiling and Lu Hua are running forward to catch them, but it's not either of these symbols that do. It is the Emperor. Emperor Long Du falls into existence perfectly next to Chunjing and catches them gently. And as they appear, a vibration passes through the hall of balance like the strings of a gutian wavering without its melody being heard, and the last of the mist is dispersed in this place. And Emperor Longdu gazes down at Chunjing's tired, spent face and says with a gentleness that you've not seen before, "You're okay, Xiaochun. I have you." And we're gonna end the session there.
Oh my.
So, this is like the third time I feel like there's been like a Lumièra tag at the end of a session, which I love. I love. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning into this episode, this special midpoint episode of the Chaos Protocol. I have been your game master and creative producer, Connie Chong. My pronouns are they, he, and she. You can find me across the internet at by Connie Chong. That's BYCONNIECHANG. Valiant Dorian, tell people where they can find you.
Hi everyone, I am Valiant Love Story, and hi, I use he and his pronouns. You can find me all around the internet at Valiant Dorian or at Also Spirit Bear. Please enjoy that lovely treasure I just set you on. And tonight I've been your Seir, a loving brother, loving companion, and loving mentee. Hey old man, how's it going over there?
Hey, okay. I've been an old man. Hi everyone, I'm Kai. I use he, they, and she pronouns. You can find me all over the internet as Estelle of Imladris. And I got to play a father again to these lovely teammates. All right, badass, bad bitch, she, her. Take us away.
One more time, representing for the she/hers out here. What's good? Hi, everyone. I am Sam Star. I use she, they, and the occasional they pronouns. You can find me all across the internet at Lust for Life. That's LUSTTFORLIFEEX. And I have had the pleasure, always the pleasure, of playing our favorite bitch, favorite bad bitch, chronologist, healer, who also finally got laid. Good for her. My God, baby girl needed it so bad. Lumièra. So yeah. What's going on, boss? Take us home.
It's me, the balls. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Again, a big thank you to Nine Heavens Press for letting us use that really cool monster. If you enjoyed our take on this monster from Undying Corruption, back them. It's already happened and it was already funded. Pre-order Undying Corruption on BackerKit. Going to bit.ly/undying corruption. U capitalize, C capitalize. Their PDFs are only like $30 for 400 plus pages of content and hundreds of gorgeous illustrations, just like this one, over 60 incredible monsters, made by a primarily Asian and Korean diasporic team. So support art by diasporic Asian creators now more than ever. And a big thank you to Nine Heavens Press. We are going to be back next week, Saturday, March 9th, 8 p.m. US Eastern Time, for the beginning of the back half of Arc 2. Can you believe it? We're already over halfway through Arc 2 of the Chaos Protocol. I can't wait for that to happen. We're going to be streaming on YouTube and Twitch at Transplanar RPG. and TikTok at @ByConnieStrong right here. So check out the link in my bio on TikTok. And if you're on Twitch, stick around for the raid. We're going to be raiding someone really awesome right now, no doubt. So use the raid message in chat. Tell them Transplanar sent you. Tell them we traumatize you with the midpoint episode. We love you all so much. We will see you next week. Free Palestine and Bijou.